In today's video, I'm going to be showing you here how to fix an issue on your 2002 through 2005 11th generation Ford Thunderbird. And the issue today is the power mirrors are not working. So I've even got the car running here, and I come over here to the power mirrors. Again, right now it's in the lock position in the center. I flip it over here to the left. I try to move the mirrors. The left mirror doesn't move. I flip it over here to the right, try to move the right mirror. The right mirror also doesn't want to move. Put it in the lock position. No matter what I do, the mirrors don't want to move. Neither of them want to move. There's a number of things this can be. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and get started here and showing you how to diagnose this. So there's a few things you're going to check. We're going to start with checking the simplest thing. Shut the car off here real quick. And the first thing we're going to check is we're going to want to check the fuse. Make sure the fuse isn't blown. If the fuse is blown, then we're going to go into a little bit more of a diagnosis and figuring out what causes the fuse to blow, or if there is something causing the fuse to blow, and you want to look into that. There could also be the mirror motors or the wiring, which each mirror has individual motors. Most likely, if both of them are not working at the same time, that's not the issue. The most common issue on these Fords is the power mirror switch itself. But first, we're going to check before we go ahead and just go replacing parts. We're going to check the fuse first to make sure that that's working. So this vehicle does have 3 fuse boxes. It has one underneath the hood, one in the trunk, and one in the passenger side kick panel. And I believe the fuse for the power mirrors is inside the passenger side kick panel. So it's right down here. The little panel we'll remove, and I'll take a look in there. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. Okay, so I went ahead and I got our fuse diagram up here. And this here is for the passenger compartment fuse box inside the vehicle. And we're going to look here, and we are going to look down here at outside mirrors, which is fuse number 34. It's a 5 amp fuse, and that's for outside mirrors. So that's going to be the one that we're going to want to check. Some people get confused here. They'll see this fuse here for tilt tele motors, and they'll think that, well, that's the motors for the mirrors. And some vehicles do have tilt tele motors for the mirrors, and what that is that's when you put the vehicle in reverse. It makes the mirrors go down, and then when you put it back into drive or park or whatever, the mirrors go back to the normal position. These vehicles are not equipped with that from the factory. They do not come with this. I believe what this is actually referring to is the steering wheel. When the key's put in the ignition, the steering wheel comes down. When it's taken out, the steering wheel goes back up. So that's what that refers to. This has nothing to do with the mirrors. So we do not need to check this fuse. Some people will get that confused, but we're going to want to check fuse number 34. So we just have one fuse for the mirrors. It's number 34, and it is a 5 amp fuse. So I'm going to come up here to our fuse box diagram, and we're going to look here for fuse number 34. So that's the one all the way down here on the bottom. It looks like all the way down here on the bottom, almost next to the right. So right here, number 34, right next to 35. So it's the last one from the end. So I'm going to go ahead and get that. We'll pull that fuse out. I'm going to check that. We're going to see if that's bad or not. Then we're going to go from there. So now I'm here on the passenger side. I'm going to go ahead and get access to that fuse box. So if you come down here, it's really convenient on this car because you actually have lights here that light up the floor down here, so it makes it really easy to see. So you're just going to come here, there's a little tab under here, you're going to pull that out. It's going to come right up here. And then you've actually got your fuse box cover here, which I did not realize, but it actually says the number of all the fuses and where they're all located. So that actually makes that really convenient also. Okay, so I'm actually not sure who designed this, if it was Ford or if it was Jaguar who designed the electrical in this car. But it's actually really convenient. The fuse box cover has all the fuses on it, which I did not realize. And then to take this off, you just take a flathead screwdriver. You literally just stick it in here. You just pry down, and this whole door will just come off of here and move it right out of the way. And then you have really easy access, and it's actually really easy to see all the fuses in here. A lot easier than a lot of these newer cars. So what you're going to want to look at here is we're going to want to look for the 5 amp fuse, which we'll look down here in the bottom right. It's the second one over. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get that pulled out here. Just going to take well, actually, the car has a nice little fuse puller in here, which also makes that super convenient. Okay, so when I got that pulled out, it comes with that nice fuse puller. Makes it really easy. If you don't have that, you can just use the needle nose pliers, which is what I was going to do until I realized that we had that in there. So this is a 5 amp fuse. If it needs to be replaced, I'm looking here. You can see the little squiggly line through there. That's a nice solid line. So the fuse is not blown. The fuse is good. So the fuse is not the issue in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and get that replaced. That doesn't really surprise me. It's very common on these well, the Lincoln LS as well as the Thunderbird, for the power mirror switch to go out. And I'm not quite sure what the reasoning is behind it, but it's very common for the switches to go out on these for the power mirrors. And so I'm going to go ahead and replace the switch. If you had one mirror that worked and one mirror that didn't work, obviously it's probably the motor and one of the mirrors. You want to look into that. Or it could still be the switch in that case. You could also have wiring issues, but this car is, as far as I know, all the wiring is good, everything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get the power mirror switch replaced. Be showing you here how to do that. Okay, and then just a few pieces of advice here for this next step. Makes it a lot easier. You have power seats here. Move it all the way back. Get it out of your way. Give you a lot of space there. And then make sure you take the key out of the ignition. That way the steering wheel comes all the way up. You don't have to worry about hitting your head on that or anything like that. That just makes it a lot easier. Also, trim poppers, trim removal tools, make this super easy. If it's warm outside, it's definitely a better time to do this. When it's cold outside, the plastic is a lot more brittle. It can break and crack easily. You definitely want to be really careful with this because as the vehicle ages, just the plastic is kind of touchy. We don't want to break anything. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. If you look up underneath here, we're going to remove this first trim panel here. And it just has little push pins here. And there's 3 of them. So it's kind of hard for me to show on the camera here. But there are 3 push pins in here. See if I can try to show it, but so right there's your push pin, and what will happen is that that middle piece will pop down first, and then once you get that pushed down, then you'll be able to pop this upper piece down, and then you can pull it out. Kind of hard for me to show this on the camera while laying underneath the dash. I'm going to get all 3 of these pulled out, and then I'll show you what to do next. So once you go ahead and you get those trim pieces, those clips removed from down there, those push pins, and you want to come up here, there's going to be tabs that hold this in. So what I'm doing to release the tabs is, since this is plastic, the tabs can break very easily. You want to be really careful with these, especially as the vehicle ages. To do this, the easiest way I did it was with a couple of trim poppers. You can get these trim poppers super cheap down at Harbor Freight, and they actually do come in really useful. So what I went ahead and did is I stuck one trim popper in here on the side, like this, and I just pushed forward with it, just pushing it out forward towards the driver's seat. Then while I was doing that, I stuck another one back here, and I just tried to pry this off while pushing forward, and it slid out really nicely. You do not want to apply a lot of pressure. This came out super easily without applying pressure. When I was just trying to do it from over here, it wasn't coming out. When I was just trying to do it from up top, it was not coming out. But when I did it this way, it came out super easy and nothing broke. So that's the way we want to keep this not breaking anything when we're taking this apart. So then you're going to move down to the next one. I think there's a few of these as you go along here. Okay, sorry about that. Car alarm going off in the distance here. Not this car, don't worry. Taking this apart won't set off the alarm or anything like that. So once you go ahead and get that removed, what you're going to have here, once you get that first one removed, there's one more here, then there's one more on the little tab here on the end. And once you get all that removed, this is just going to come out of here. To disconnect this for the traction control, just push in on the tab here and pull that out. Be careful with that. Okay, then there's 2 ways you can go from here. If you really want to, you can try to reach up behind the dash. You try to push the tabs in and try to push the switch forward from behind there and pop it out that way. That's not the easiest way to do it, but you can do it. If you're concerned about breaking the trim or anything like that, that'd be the way to do it with the least amount of damage. Here, if you do want to take the trim out, it can be taken out without being broken or anything like that. You just have to be really careful with it. You really want to take your time with this step, especially doing this. I took the trim popper and I stuck it underneath and tried to pry out that way. You can stick it underneath or even from the side right here. You can see the clip. If it makes it easier, the clip is right here on the side. So that's what needs to get pushed in. I was trying from the top. The top does not work. You do not want to try from the top. So either the bottom or the side. And I got the one side popped out. And the other side, that clip is in the same spot. Once you get the one side out, though, it's a lot easier to get the other side out. You can just kind of wiggle it out of here. So go ahead and get this pulled out the rest of the way. I'm going to go ahead and get the power mirror switch taken out. And then for the second trim piece, I did that one from underneath also. And just put the trim popper underneath and slid that out. Then this whole panel will come out of here. What's mainly going to hang you up here is just the wiring behind it. So if you can give yourself a little play with that, you can get this the rest of the way out. You also have your turn signal stock here. So just a matter of working around that. You can kind of just tilt it down here. And once you've got it tilted down, then it's a matter of just unplugging the electrical connector for your power mirrors. So to unplug this, if you look behind here, it's the one with the yellow tab on top here. And to unplug this, you'll push in on this little white one here on the side, and that'll come out. And right now I'm hitting the controls for the steering wheel here with the trim, but you'll want to slide this out. You'll push this in, pull that back, that'll come off. Okay, then to actually go ahead and get the power mirror switch removed from the trim piece, you'll have one tab on top. You'll push in on that. So this one right here where my thumb is. Take my other finger here, and there'll be one on the side here as well. You'll push in on that. You'll push in on both those. You'll push it forward, and it'll actually push right out through the trim piece. And that's how you'll get that removed out of here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that removed. Then I'm gonna go ahead and get that replaced. These are super inexpensive to replace. Actually got this one off of Rock Auto. I am using an aftermarket branded one. I don't really recommend using the OEM Motorcraft just because these are kind of known for failure. So I'd recommend using an aftermarket brand. I don't think the Motorcraft ones in this case are that good. So go ahead and get this popped out here. Okay, so I've got the switch pulled out here. I mean, looking at the connectors and everything, the connectors look fine. I mean, there was not a corrosion issue or anything like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the switch replaced with a new one. Again, I said the Motorcraft ones. This is the original Motorcraft one, and I know these quit working early for whatever reason. They're prone to failure. So I really wouldn't recommend replacing with another one. Usually, I do recommend using Motorcraft parts, but not in this case. So I have the aftermarket switch here. Go ahead and take that out of the box here. And again, looks just about the same as the original one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get that installed. So then to do that, it's just going to push right through the trim panel here. And that should just pop right into place. Actually a lot easier to install than to uninstall. So go ahead and get that pushed in. Now I'll get the electrical connector connected and I'll try it out and see if it works. Okay, the switch is installed. The electrical connector is connected here. I'm just going to flip it here to the right side. Oh, I hear the motor working. Yep. Sure enough, the mirror adjusts on that side. So just up, yep, up, down, left, right. All four ways work on that. So that's good. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to flip it to the left side. Try the driver's side. Door's open here. See if you can see that. Yep, sure enough. Left, right, down, up. Works in all four directions on that side. So again, the switches are very common for failure on this. So I went ahead, I got the switch put back in. This panel here will just slide right back in place the same way it came out. The other panel will go back in. Just the 3 push pins at the bottom. Once you get the 3 tabs lined up on top, then don't forget to plug your electrical connector in here for the traction control. And then once that's all put back together, you're all good to go. This is a super simple fix on this car. I know it's super common on these, even on the extremely low mileage ones. So hopefully this video was helpful, and thanks for watching.